What will happen when someone you know suddenly vanishes without a trace? Not even the people who know them personally know where they are right now. What will you do? A group of high schoolers in the Deduction Reasoning Club are supposed to make a film about an unsolved case handled by the uncle of the club's leader. Our protagonist, Zaichi, is in a relationship with King Jai, who's also part of the club. The reason Zaichi joined the club was because of King Jai. They've been in a relationship for almost a month now, but he feels that King Jai is avoiding him for some reason. He thought that at least at the club, they would get a chance to talk. The group is shooting a film about an unsolved case involving a book author named Jilu, who sent a letter to his murderer 2 days after being killed. The movie stars Zaichi as the police officer and King Jai, his colleague. After the shoot was over, Zaichi went and asked King Jai out on a date, to which she agreed. Little did they know, they were being watched by a surveillance camera. When Zaichi uttered the word Jilu, the camera detected it and the people watching them identified them by numbers and told everyone to increase surveillance on them. When Zaichi asked about the script, one of their classmates went up to them to show them the footage of the sample cut. However, King Jai isn't in the footage, which puzzled Zaichi. When he asked about King Jai, his classmate responded by asking them, "Who is King Jai?" which confused Zaichi and his friend even further. Upon arriving home, King Jai receives a letter from Jilu, which shocks her. Thinking it was a prank, Zaichi went out to find King Jai. First, they asked King Jai's dorm caretaker, then her roommate, and lastly, his teacher. All the answers he got from them is who is King Jai as if she didn't exist. Hearing his teacher's response, Zaichi went into a mental breakdown, but was abruptly cut off when King Jai called his friend's phone, asking Zaichi to save her. When Zaichi tried to dial again, the number was no longer available. Trying to find clues, Zaichi and his friend go to the city to look for clues. The only thing they had a lead on was Jilu's letter, which contains a set of numbers, a peculiar letter, and a card, which were all photographed as these were sensitive information. Zaichi managed to crack the puzzle and found out that 7 is the number they should look for. After cracking the answer, the city underwent a blackout, and all that appears to him seems to point him in one direction. He and Mencken followed the number 7 and ended up in a cafe. They were welcomed by a bartender. Mencken asked the bartender if she had seen King Jai, but the bartender refused to answer. When asked about the seemingly big exterior and underwhelming interior of the cafe, the bartender still refused to answer. But when Zaichi showed her the picture of the card, she answered by opening up a secret passage. The two sprinted towards the end of the passage and found themselves welcomed to the Telencephalon. The woman explains to them that Telencephalon is basically a real-life PvP-based MMO. When Mencken asks about King Jai, the woman refuses to answer as it is private information. She tells them that she cannot reveal a player's info. This angers Zaichi and asks her to tell him where the hell is King Jai. A player appears behind them and tells Zaichi that he wants to eat him. But before leaving, he said that he thought he saw King Jai in the game and told them that they should be careful using a second-hand card, the one in the picture. The woman explains the mechanics of the game and tells them that certain objectives need to be completed before they can make a contact. She then gives them 2 cards and Zaichi takes one and heads off. He tells Menki to stay with the woman and wait for him. Zaichi arrives inside a room with 2 people. They were told that they needed to complete the objectives in a limited time. Zaichi manages to complete the first stage, and so did the 2 people he's been with. Zaichi realizes that the missions are tailored for each of their own individual strengths. When the last stage comes out, they are told that only one player is allowed to proceed to the next stage, and if they can't reach an agreement, they're all going to be terminated. The guy they're teamed up with suddenly points a gun at them, telling them that the system has turned them against each other. Zaichi outsmarted the guy by holding onto his teammate's legs and trapping the guy into the next stage. However, when they unlocked the correct stage, the floor cracked and they fell down the room. When they woke up, they saw themselves tied to a guillotine. The executioner gave them 2 minutes to guess each other's numbers without providing any hints to each other. The 2 managed to rightly do so by screaming they didn't know twice. This netted them 9 points for completion in their individual performance. Zaichi wakes up by King Jai in a park, and Zaichi is somewhat confused, as he's sure that he was at the Telencephalon just moments ago. He realizes that their date is today, so he goes to the ticketing booth to buy movie tickets. When asked if he was going to pay by cash or card, he responded with a card and pulled out a card that is his Telencephalon card. He realizes that the Telencephalon game isn't a dream and concludes that it's a money glitch game, since his bank account now has over 900k yuan. Zaichi then starts buying all the purses he can buy for King Jai, but is disgusted by his behavior. Euphoric, He snaps back to reality and has another thought about the telencephalon game again and remembers that Mencken might still be waiting at the game hall where he left him. However, Mencken appears behind him, asking him if he misses him already. Zaichi asks him if he remembers anything about when they were at the game hall, but Mencken says they were both drinking and went home afterward. Zaichi thinks he's just being delusional. The sky gets dark and everything turns black. Zaichi wakes up once again, this time inside the game, but now he's surrounded by players like him. They are told their own hidden objectives and are tasked with completing the mission by finding the exit within the given time. Zaichi says that he's better off alone and leaves. While he navigates through the maze, he confronts number 3 who is following him. Number 3 says that she is a newbie, but Zaichi says it's just a clever lie so people around her let their guard down. As they walk around, they encounter a ghost-like figure, which disappears, scaring number 3, who was clinging to him. Zaichi chokes number 3, telling her that she's lying and that he's her target. Number 3 confesses and tells him she meant no harm as she's only there to complete the game. Failure to do so means she'll die. Before Zaichi can react, the ghost appears again and he decides to chase it. The two end up inside a freezer room, where they are trapped, while the other group is still trying to figure out where they're going. Trapped in the freezer room, number 3 tries to hug Zaichi, but the ghost appears again in front of him, pointing to where the hints are. Zaichi manages to correctly figure out the password and the two get out. Back in the other group, a conflict is looming as they can't figure their way out. Number 3 explains to him the rules of the game. She says that dying in game doesn't mean you're dead. It's just that you're removed from that particular game. The true danger comes if you have a negative balance of points. Reaching a negative balance is particularly nasty since it means you're kicked out of the game. She also says that players who got kicked out of the game couldn't even last a week outside in the real world. Zaichi thinks it's probably the reason Jilu died mysteriously. If you remember, Jilu's the subject of their movie, and King Jai, Zaichi's girlfriend, mysteriously disappeared because of Jilu's case. Hearing this, Zaichi screams to trigger a conflict between the lost group, resulting in an actual PvP. They fight each other while one of them is mostly watching. He kills one player and helps another one, just to kill that same player. Zaichi and Chun-Zu decide to leave the place, but they're chased by a spiked wall. Now they're gonna have to do an American Ninja FT, hole in the wall sprint to get away from the spikes. Chun-Zu saves Zaichi before he falls into the depths and goes to the next room. They are attacked by another player. Zaichi protects Chun-Zu but gets punched into the ground, and as he manages to get up just to get big booted onto his face. When Baldi was about to beat Chun-Zu, the guy from the previous group did a Hisoka and attacked their opponent. Bobian, the guy who attacked Baldi, explains to him that if he attacks Zaichi, he'll become his enemy. Zaichi also tells him that if he attacks number 3, he'll be his enemy, and number 3 tells him that if he attacks Zaichi, she'll be his enemy. Basically, it's a 3v1 he can't escape, so he just said okay, fine. Baldi went off to complete his mission, but summoned Ifrit instead, and got roasted, literally. The three head to the statue and place their hands, opening the exit. The ghost congratulates them for teaching her the value of trust. Just as Zaichi was about to leave the exit with Chun-Zu, she gets attacked by Bobian in the neck using a tag. Zaichi swears revenge and tells Bobian that the next time they meet, it'll be his neck that Zaichi is after. Zaichi is back in the real world and King Jai is there with him, but he suddenly remembers Chun-Zu and immediately goes back to his room and starts going through the 5 stages of grief. He hears a knock on the door and after opening it, he gets kidnapped. He wakes up inside a villa owned by none other than his teammate, Chun-Za. Zaichi was, of course, confused since he thought she was already dead. But surprise, she's not. Zaichi explains why he is in the game and tells her he's looking for his girlfriend. Chun-Za also explains the point system to him and how the game's mechanics work. Chun-Za briefs him on the telencephalon's point system and how to use them using the phone terminal. Basically, the points they earn from completing the tasks in the telencephalon can be exchanged for literally everything that's available on Earth. After Chun-Za told Zaichi that he could even buy his own time, the madman did it and had a pretty good time with her. She also hired a bodyguard and a car before he left. Shortly after leaving, they were attacked by unknown people. The bodyguard managed to save his life, but the car exploded. Damn, 3 million gone to dust. Zaichi wakes in a hospital and he is told that he was attacked by another telencephalon player. But the attackers are mercenaries and the telencephalon security cannot directly interfere. The guy also tells him that the only way he can know who attacked him is if he's at the top of the game. The guy also tells him Zaichi has a new bodyguard. Zaichi asks where his previous bodyguard is, but the guy responds that the new bodyguard is better than his previous one. So the guy brings him to the punishment room where I-7, his bodyguard, is currently being tortured for incompetence. Zaichi orders them to stop, but as per their company regulations, he can't just choose his previous bodyguard. However, he can identify the guard's specs if he wishes to. I-7 taps on Morse code and Zaichi caught on it. He orders her specs so he can work with her again. For the next couple of days, I-7 guards him while he's recovering. They received a call from one of the mercenaries who attacked them before and threatened them. So Zaichi decided to make a plan. He plans to get rid of all the guys who attacked him once and for all. Later that night, they moved with the plan and lured the two guys into chasing him. Unfortunately for the mercenaries, Zaichi's plan is foolproof, so they are trolled by a dupe. Zaichi appears and runs away in a car. He gets chased, but he trolls them again and swaps license plates. By mistake, the mercenaries kill each other, and the last mercenary dies in a mysterious way. The day of Zaichi's game has arrived and he's now being taken back to the game stage. He arrives at the site and 9 other people are there, each with a suitcase of their own. The rules are simple. There's a killer that's going to kill them, but they're not allowed to talk about it, or even accuse it of being a killer if they have no solid evidence, because they can accuse it once. Talking about their personal lives is prohibited. Not even before the day had started, 2 people were already eliminated, further increasing the tension within the group. The group then discusses how they're going to manage resources and shift schedules. Zaichi goes to sleep, and when he wakes up, one of their teammates is already dead. They examine the body, but can't find clues except for a needle stuck in his neck. The group decides to move away from the area to avoid further attacks. One of the members says that he can't take it anymore and claims that he's going to the latrine. A few minutes later, they hear a scream coming out of the latrine area. Another one of their teammates was murdered. Zaichi tells them that they should keep moving, but the guy who was with the previously murdered teammate says he's going in a different direction. Zaichi falls asleep while thinking about the killer's limitations. Zaichi's teammate wakes him up, informing him that 2 of their members are long gone. They rush into their last known location to find one of the victims, barely conscious. Zaichi carefully analyzes the details. He manages to piece out the evidence and concludes that it was 11 that's been killing them all along. The killer looks out for his targets and bumps into one of Zaichi's teammates. Unfortunately for him, they already knew what was up and hatched a plan of luring him into the trap they laid out for him. Arriving at the place, he found his previous victim abandoned. Zaichi leaps down behind him and steals his suitcase. He threatens that opening his case would get them disqualified, but it was already a checkmate, and he admitted defeat. He says he's returning to the losing world, telling him that if he loses he'll go back to the original world, and if he wins he'll land back at the Telencephalon world, where the points are used for. Telencephalon are the rulers of the winning world, and talents from the losing world are taken into the game. If they're good enough, they get to live in the winning world, where they'll practically have all the wealth and fortune that the losing world can't provide. However, the killer says that one of the 2 worlds must be a fake one. Hearing this, Zaichi asks his teammate if he could lose this stage. He says he needs to go back to his original world for some reason, leaving the 2 behind. This is all for this anime. Give the video a like, and I will see you in the next minutes.